23, Big 550 KTRS. He is the foremost liver transplant surgeon in the entire world, and he lives here in St. Louis. He's also professor of surgery and pediatrics at Washington University, and he's our doctor. The doctor's in, Dr. Jeffrey Lowell, via Skype here on KTRS and STLtoday.com. Good morning, doctor.
Hey, Kelly. Hey, McGraw.
Hi, Doc.
This story about young kids not sleeping because their smartphones are attached at the hip and in the bed with them. How bad is that these kids are not getting sleep because of this smartphone?
Yeah. Well, it's bad. Kids should sleep. I mean, kids have, they're growing. They need to go to school. They have all these kind of pressures on them, and it's their one time during the day where they can just totally unwind and decompress. And when they have their smartphone under their bed, same as if they had a TV on. Actually, it's even a little bit worse. They're not sleeping, and kids need to sleep. They need to maintain those circadian rhythms and totally shut down. And it is not good.
What about parents? Because I find myself being stuck to that thing, and every time it beeps, I roll over and look at it in bed. I should turn it off too, right?
Absolutely, you should.
Yeah.
We need to sleep at night, and when you have sleep that's continuously interrupted, or you're distracted and you can't totally unwind, you're going to be tired during the day, and kids are tired enough during the school with a good night's sleep.
I'm kind of guilty of using my laptop, before I go to sleep with that light looking at me, and I'm sure the cell phone is kind of like the same thing, keeping them awake, the light from the cell phone.
Yeah, you're waiting for the next ding, you're waiting for the next, Snapchat, BuzzFeed, whatever, and as opposed to kind of just unwinding and just, getting ready to go to sleep.
Yeah. Let's talk about the flu season. What do we know so far as we're halfway through the flu season?
It's bad. At epidemic levels now, 43 states have widespread flu activity, likely due to several reasons. Probably the most important one was a mutation in one of the strains of the most common flu virus that's going around, which is the H3N2, and unfortunately this year's flu vaccine didn't have that exact strain in it, and it's a pretty good smackdown because people are getting it, and as we talk about pretty regularly, I mean it can be very dangerous, and people can absolutely positively die from flu. And so far this year there's been a handful of children that have died. We have a couple of people who have had transplants that are in our ICU right now with flu. It's a big deal. And what can we do to try and stave it off? The things we've talked about before is wash your hands, and then use hand sanitizer. If you haven't gotten a vaccine, it's not too late. Get one, because even though the flu virus has mutated some, there's still plenty that hasn't mutated. And if you're see somebody who looks like they're sick with flu, stay away from them. If you've got the flu, stay home.
It goes to show you how important that flu shot is that if the virus mutated and the shot doesn't protect you from the new mutation, it shows you how important that shot is, right?
Absolutely it is.
Yeah.
And people come up with all kinds of somewhat lame excuses for not getting it, but it does make a big difference. And if you haven't gotten it, you definitely should. And if you're over 6 months old, you should have one.
Yeah. Finally, doctor, while we have you, there's a new study about cancer that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. It turns out that about 2/3 of cancers are just related to bad luck. We talked about mutations in the flu virus. These are mutations in other types of cells that can lead to cancer. Now, there are some cancers that we know are definitely related to environmental factors like lung cancer and smoking, and skin cancer and sun exposure. But there's lots of cancers that are really just mainly bad luck, and I think this in the future will lead to a lot of refocusing of how we're spending our research dollars.
Because somebody gets, you hear of somebody, getting a terrible cancer. It's just they were in the wrong place at the wrong time, and their number's up, and the gene mutated, and all of a sudden they've got cancer.
that's it. Now there are some genetic predispositions to these things, and most cancers, truthfully, are probably a combination of the three factors: genetics, environment, and bad luck. But there are things that we can do, and so the things we absolutely know that we can do is smoking will absolutely lead to lung cancer, and UV exposure from sun will absolutely lead to skin cancers. So those are things that are known knowns. We should absolutely prevent those.
There you go. Dr. Jeffrey Lowell, professor of surgery and pediatrics at Washington University via Skype here each and every Wednesday. Doc, Happy New Year, and we'll talk to you next week.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Dr. Jeffrey Lowell via Skype here on the Big 550 K.